It is you. I knew it. You're busted. Actually, that's pretty cool. I like that thing. Hey guys, welcome to the vlog. Millian here with you. Millian, your ministry provocateur, iconoclast, firebrand, and the resident heretic here at Dominion Fire. Welcome to the vlog, and I hope you like the new studio lighting. I just had it installed over the weekend, and it's bright. I got 8 gigantic lights I'm standing directly under. It's like, I feel like the fried chicken over at KFC. Like, it's keeping me warm up in here, and actually, they're LEDs. They don't throw any heat, but they're still bright. You know what I'm saying? Love it. So welcome to the vlog. Thank you for being here with me today. And had something funny happen to me over the weekend, which sort of kicked off this whole thing in my mind, which I'm going to share with you today, which is about Millian's Pharisee Detector. And see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to equip you, much like that little device I opened with. I am going to equip you with, there could be like up to 50 of these things, but I'm going to equip you with the 3 major things I've noticed about modern day Pharisees that you could spot them coming a mile away. And then you know how to pray for them. So first thing I'm going to open you with today is that there is absolutely nothing new under the sun. You know that. Because people are people, and they always have been. And even out through different cultures and languages and generations, whatever you want to do, there's a base level of things that God has coded into the DNA that makes people people. And the problem is that people take what God puts in them, they use it for inappropriate purposes, and when they do so, they sort of diminish and take away what God originally intended. And this is part of our struggle, taking what God gave us and doing the right thing with it. And this is what we're running this race for, which is going to factor in later. But the concept of Pharisees, you see all the time, you hear people say, well, this person's a Pharisee, this person's a Sadducee. They're sad, you see. That annoys me. I don't like that line. But it is what it is. But when I talk about the Pharisees, I'm not referring to, the people that held a certain position under a system a couple thousand years ago. What I'm specifically referring to is sort of the mindset that came with it and the behaviors and the activities that were presented in them, which made them so freaking irritating to everybody. 2,000 years later, here we are, right? So Pharisees are alive and well, and they always have been. And you're going to see them not only in church and faith areas, but you're going to see them everywhere, man. It's a mindset. And first thing I'm going to do is we've all basically acted Pharisaical at some point in our journey. Now back to the whole faith thing. Now, I'm guilty of that. And on several videos, I've apologized. If I've done that to you, I'm sorry, guys. I had a situation over this last year and a half, which basically wrecked me, man. It cleaned my clock. And, when you're sitting there recovering from that, you really start taking stock of stuff. And this is why I've had this recent change in me, because there's stuff that I guess I've learned from it along the way. Share it with you on another vlog, okay? For another day. But what you're going to notice is that in anything involving humans, that people like to jockey for positions. Right? You see it, whether it's a corporation, climbing the corporate ladder, or someone on a sports team that wants to be all-star or MVP or get this award or that award or this scholarship or whatever. You also see it in churches. Yeah, you belong as part of like a big church of some kind, right? There's always the leaders that are like in this little clique, and they kind of hang out together, and they'll interact with you guys, but they basically stay within themselves. And I know this because I've been on both sides of it. I've been in church leadership. I've been in the cliques. It's a clique. I'm just going to be blunt with you. That's what we did. Not saying it's right. It's what I did. Again, sorry about that. But one of the things that I see in churches, and this is, again, I've been through this, and I only say this because I've seen it and I witnessed it, and I'm just sharing it with you, is a common thing is you'll see that, you need to submit to pastoral authority. And I'm like, Jacko, I don't got to submit to anything. There's one person I submit to. His name is first name Holy, last name Spirit. Holy. He's the guy I go talk to about these things. Now, I don't mean to say that in like an ignorant way, in that if you have something to share, or if you're teaching something that's really cool or important or valuable, I will shut my mouth and sit there and listen to you and hear what you have to say. So I don't want it to sound like everybody's shut out. I know the whole thing. I don't mean it that way. All I'm saying is there's that whole thing of submission and doing what you're told and all that stuff. And it's not how it's supposed to work as far as I'm concerned, okay? You are, as coded in your DNA, as I said earlier, you're supposed to have dominion over things. You're supposed to have authority over things. Yes, there is an element of authority that's coded into you. But you've got to remember, you're supposed to have authority over things of the world. You're supposed to have authority over the works of the enemy, over sickness, over disease, not authority over each other. And therein, I think, lies the problem. Again, you take something that God codes into your DNA and you use it in sort of an inaccurate place. And then we have bad things happen, and it causes all these problems and divisions. I know I've been there. The problem that goes further with this, and this is a phrase that my wife has coined. She said it one day, just blurted it out as we were talking about this, and it was so powerful. She says, one of the problems is that too many people make the church building their tangible God. That's where everything happens for them. And that's unfortunate. You'll see a lot of times too, and this is what I say, is that too many people outsource their faith to their senior pastor. What I mean by that is that, we go on Sunday, get what we need, maybe throw something in the collection basket. But, we know somebody that started coming to church, we're friends with, they want to be baptized. First thing they do, pastor, we need to get him baptized. When are we going to have a baptism service? How about you just go find a pool and go dunk him right now? Fill up a bathtub. I've done it. I have a video on it. I catch all kind of flack for it, but I did it. Didn't wait for anything because you have authority to go do that. Go do it, man. So a lot of times it's this misplaced sort of authority thing. Now, I told you all that to tell you this. In that over this last weekend, I had a bit of a fun, interesting exchange with someone on Facebook. Now, Facebook to me is very interesting because social media is a double-edged sword. There's a lot of good to it, and there's also a lot of bad to it. On the good side, I'm grateful because with Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, as you're watching now, I hope, and social media, I've had the opportunity to really meet people I never would have met, or to get the message out to people, or do these videos, or any of these things. So I'm grateful in a lot of ways for it. But you have to remember that internet and social media also has Pharisees to it. Yeah. Anything that has a structure where there's people involved, someone is going to jockey for position. And this is what we're coming down to, okay? So what I've done is as I was having this conversation with someone, it sort of laid out this thing for me where I found like three major things I notice with kind of like the Pharisees. And I'm modern day. And I'm going to give you these so that you have them as sort of like warning flags. And when you see these, all right, don't argue, don't engage, just pray for them and go back to what you were doing, okay? Now, first thing is, number one, what I call truth mongering. Now, the funny part is that these are the people that say, you need the truth. I have the truth and I'm going to teach you the truth. And I'm like, good, because I really wanted false. That's what I wanted. I don't want it. Is there really anybody among us, any honest, true to heart Christian out there that doesn't want truth? I mean, really? And I think that it gets a little, I don't know. It gets a little just overbearing when you start saying, well, you don't want the truth. It's like, no. I got to digest stuff in my own way. You don't know who I am. You don't know my personality, my learning style. Don't make that judgment call. So with this thing on Facebook, or the other thing too, let me stop for a second, is not only do you need the word, but it's like, I teach the word. I teach the truth. I, that whole thing. So this thing on Facebook was really interesting to me because okay, pause, time out for a second, because I need to make a quick announcement to you. If you follow me on Facebook, I have a lot of followers. I'm really nobody in this whole thing, but I do have a lot of connections, a lot of friends and all that stuff on social media. If you follow me on Facebook, okay, pay attention. You listening? Don't. DON''T. Don't add me to Facebook groups without asking me first. That drives me up the stinking wall. Please don't do that. It's not only disrespectful, it's just annoying beyond all belief, because then I got to go and unfollow, and then I go send a message and I say, bro, please don't add me to groups. I'm not interested. Now, here's the thing. You may be teaching great stuff. You may have something awesome, but here's the thing. Ask me first. Millian, I got this group. I'm trying to get it started. Could you check it out? Would you help me along? Yes. I'll be happy to do whatever I can for you. Don't make assumptions and don't be a jerk. It's kind of like my big thing about this. And what happened is that Saturday we were driving along in our car, and I get a little message pop up on Facebook, and it said, so-and-so added you to this group, and the name is like this long on the screen and has like Yahweh in it. And I'm like, oh, I just know where this is going. So what I did was I went and I unfollowed the group, and I sent a message to the guy. Now, I'm very polite. I'm nice. I really am. I said, please, I started with please don't add me to groups. Thank you. That's all I said. Within a couple seconds, you know what the message I got back was? Well, you obviously don't want the truth. What? You just deduced that from me saying, please don't add me to groups? Really, Inspector? How'd you come up with that one? It's like, you don't want the truth. I'm like, no, you're right. I don't want the truth. I want nothing but falsities. In fact, I'm going to create a new breakfast cereal called Honey Nut Falsities. A breakfast cereal with almond milk in the morning, every morning. It's magically malicious. I don't know. It's good. Whatever. So, so I'm like, what? So then I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, I'm about to just go at this guy. And I'm like, okay, let's calm down for a second. I said, let me think about this. I said, all right. I said, what makes you think that you have the truth? And, oh, there's a lot of false teachers out there. Okay, fine, blah, blah, blah. And I said, let me press in a little bit. I said, I felt like trolling a little. I was, I'm sitting in the car on board. We had a long drive, had nothing to do. I said, let me press in a little bit. Let's see what happens. And I started doing this, and I said, let me ask you a few questions. Now, I already kind of laid the groundwork for a couple, and I'm like, not really having this. And I said, first question. So let me ask you a few things. Does God ever cause sickness? That's a fair question, right? You guy, I'm a healing minister. You know how I feel about that. And first couple seconds later, the response comes back and says, well, we believe that God heals all sickness and diseases. And I'm like, suddenly I turned into Little John. I'm like, okay. I was like, I can work with this. And I was getting ready to do my next question. Literally like 10 seconds later, another thing pops up. Unless he wants to teach somebody something. And I'm like, what? All shades of Little John up in here on this conversation. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, this is not going to work. So I asked him a whole bunch of questions. I'll tell you more about it later, but I asked him a whole bunch of questions, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you may need to work on this. You may want to rethink this whole accuracy thing. I don't know. But, the funny part with when people add me to groups, I hate it. And what I do is, and what really annoys me is that sometimes, like as we were having this conversation, I said, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And he keeps popping up YouTube videos to me about pre-trib rapture. And I'm like, bro, you got to stop this. You're driving me nuts here, man. And one time, I had one day where I just kind of reached my limit with people adding me to Facebook groups. It was like the fourth or fifth one of the day. And I finally said, okay, you want me part of your group? I went on my YouTube channel and I grabbed every single video and I posted one after the other, like 20 of them. And in the meantime, I said, please don't add me to groups, and no response, nothing. Right. And I post 20 videos. Finally, I get a response. Oh, please slow down your posting in the group. I said, why'd you add me then? And it turned into a whole thing, and he apologized. So, and then I picked up a couple subscribers. So the world makes sense again, right? So the truth mongering is when someone claims that they have the 100% truth and they're the one that can teach it and everybody's got to follow them. And he was bragging to me, oh, I got 5,000 people in my group. I'm like, yeah, I could start a group and add 5,000 people too. It's not that big of an accomplishment. It's just, you just have nothing else to do, I suppose. But the truth mongering is sort of like what gets on my nerves. Number one. The number two thing you're going to know about the Pharisees is what I call the Paul fixation. Paul. It's like there's Paul everywhere. It's Paul. It's like microwave popcorn going off in there. Paul. It just goes off. And here's the thing. I am not by any stretch of the imagination undermining Paul or anything he did or said. Paul is an awesome guy. He's a neat guy. Most of his writing is, most of the New Testament is his, right? I get all that. And I don't mean to take away from anything. But if you read over the stuff of Paul, you're going to notice something very interesting is that Paul knew that he wasn't perfect. He wasn't great at everything. He says, I'm running the race, man. And the thing is that Paul would be the first to tell you, I was beaten, man. I was shipwrecked. They threw me in. They kicked my can down the road, bro. I'm doing my best here. I'm running the race. And I think you see that from Paul, especially as he's getting a little older and he's been through all this stuff. He's like, bro, I'm just doing the best I can here. That's it. Do I know it all? Probably not, but I'm doing my best. And that's one of the things I like about Paul is that, yeah, he knew his stuff, no doubt about it. And he was great and he had power and authority. Yes, all of that stuff. I don't discount any of that. But there was an element to it where he says, I'm running the race. And hey, I'm wearing a race shirt. See, I did the 5K run. And believe it or not, I actually run 5 and 10Ks. It doesn't look like it, but I do. And here's the thing that I want to just share with you as a little bit of a side note. Number one is, if you're running the race, don't worry about where everybody else is. Don't look around and compare yourself to who's up at the front. A couple times I ran 5Ks, there's a pregnant woman pushing a stroller, talking on the phone, drinking her Starbucks, buzzes right by me. And I'm like, come on, man, really? But I still keep going. And the thing is that something that you'll find in the Bible about being first in the kingdom. How does one become first in the kingdom? That's right, you become the least. If you're looking at a 5 or 10K race, who's considered the least? The last person to what? Cross the finish line. That's right. So if you want to be first, you have to be the least. And in this example, all I'm telling you is run your race, cross the finish line, cross as strong as you can. You're going to have times where you bolt through it. You're going to have times where you're going to be dragging your butt cheeks behind you. Just finish. That was my whole thing when I did a 10K. I don't care if I jogged at like a quarter of a mile an hour. All I wanted was don't stop. And I got through it. It hurt. It was painful, but I did it. And that's the whole thing. Just keep going. So I don't want to, minimize anything about Paul, but you're going to notice that a lot of these guys are just obsessed with Paul and what Paul wrote, and they fancy themselves scholars of Paul and all his writings and this and that. But you see, you are over here telling me you have the truth and you tell me about Paul, but then I got this other guy over here, Jesus, who said the Holy Spirit will teach you all things. I'm going to go kick it with them. So whenever I'm in doubt, again, not taken away from Paul, but at the end of the day, Holy Spirit, he's the one I go talk to. Because I'll take whatever Paul said and I'll be like, Holy, what do I need to know about this? Holy, what are we looking at here? Holy, what happened here? And you get your answer. So be careful of that, because it seems like a good thing, but if you're not careful and not dealing with the right person, it could end up very badly. Because there's a lot of stuff that people can twist up in Paul to make it sound very, very poor. Very, very bad, very, very unchristian in a lot of cases. And there's a lot of like subtle stuff in Paul, which maybe we'll talk about in the future. But just always, bottom line in this one, always refer to Holy Spirit whenever you're unsure, excuse me. That's number 2. So the Paul fixation. Number 3 is unbacked claims. Okay. Number 3 in this one, as soon as I was having this conversation, I'm pressing in a little, the whole thing that kept coming up is, well, everybody is following false teachers. Okay, we've all done it at some point. What's the issue here? I have the truth. I'm teaching this, and I'm like, okay, everyone's a false teacher. You're talking, you have 100% accuracy. Glass houses, buddy. But the thing that they'll point out to you, these modern day Pharisees, is that they are 100% accurate. And I even asked them that. I said, so what you're telling me is just so I'm clear, and I'm nice, I'm not being ignorant. I said, are you saying to me that you're 100% accurate? You have 100% of the truth, 100%. Yes, I do. I'm like, wow, okay, let me ask you another question then. So I threw some more questions in there. Now, one of my favorites is, since we're talking about Paul, is Paul's thorn in the flesh. Now, I do not believe that Paul's thorn in the flesh was a sickness or disease. We'll do a vlog on that in the future. If you believe that, that's your issue, not mine. But we'll talk about that in the future on another vlog. So I said, okay. I said, let me ask you a question. And it's irrelevant for when I tell you what happened. I said, so tell me about Paul's thorn in the flesh. Is it a sickness? And I don't remember the exact wording, but to paraphrase it, it was basically, well, we're not 100% sure what it is or why this happened or this. And I'm like, whoa, there. I said, you just told me you're 100% accurate. To which he responds to me, well, why would it matter? Why does it take away from your faith in Jesus? Why would it? I said, it doesn't take away. I said, but if you're going to claim 100% accuracy, I think you should take a position, either a yes or no. You know what I'm saying? It's like, whoo, there it is right there. That was it. So, I kind of just, couple things back and forth, and I'm like, sending me YouTube videos, and I'm like, I don't want to watch your videos, bro. I'm sorry. And I kind of just ended it there, and I'm like, not that this hasn't been a fabulous conversation, but I'm going to go now. So long, and thanks for all the fish, and that was the end of that. So at the end of the day, there's your 3 things: truth mongering, the Paul fixation, and unbacked claims. Everybody's a false teacher except them, right? They're 100% accurate, but can't give you an answer. No one is 100% accurate. Just come to terms with that now. We're all figuring this out. We're all at different stages. We're all kids on a playground trying to grow up. Some of us want to stay on the playground forever. Some of us want to get into college someday. It's just the way it is, guys. So as you're going through this, I'm going to just encourage you, as always, to just keep doing what you do. Keep going after it. Keep running that race. Keep referring to Holy for everything you need to know. I can't stress that enough. When in doubt, talk to Holy Spirit. Boom. Okay? That's the end of it. Paul said this, or, well, here's the thing. I'm not a Paulian. I am a Christian, which means Jesus Christ, who sent his Spirit, teaches you all things. Christian. I'm going to go talk to this guy. Again, not taken away from Paul. Please don't be a jerk about that. I don't mean it that way. All I'm saying is that I sort of follow a certain, protocol, I guess you would say. But no one here is 100% accurate. Not even me. I'm an idiot with a camera, guys. What do I know? Really, seriously, what do I know? But all I'm doing here is trying to give you a big picture. And I'm going to give you a quick example. And I know this is going to totally honk off a whole bunch of you. And, well, sorry if it does, but here's the deal. I'm recording this vlog in October. And I love October, especially on Facebook, because I get all the wonderful debates back and forth about Halloween and should Christians observe it? Should they follow it? Should they give out Bible tracts instead of candy? And I hated those people when I was little. But I love you now. I'm over it. But here's the thing. Normally, I'm like, you know what? I don't get into this. But last Halloween, it was really bothering me. And I was just on Facebook, and I saw people going back and forth about this and that, and quoting people, and I'm just, and like microwave pop, my head's popping now, right? And I was kind of walking. I think it was here in my studio, and I had like a little break in between things. I'm walking around, and I said, "Holy, what do I need to know about this whole Halloween thing?" I said, "It's bothering me a little bit." I said, "I've been kind of going back and forth. What do you think?" And the beautiful part about Holy is that when he gives you something, he may give you 5 or 6 words, but it means volumes when you really let it in your spirit. And as soon as I said, Holy, what do I need to know here, man? Best response ever. Do you really think a pumpkin intimidates me? And I was like, wow, okay. And then, as I say, you let that into your spirit and you start getting a feel for the bigger picture of stuff. The bigger picture to this all was, as a body, we get so focused on the minors that sometimes we skip the majors. We get so focused on these little minutiae of stuff that we don't always look at the bigger picture. There's so much more going on to the story. And with this vlog here, that's sort of my hope for you, is that I don't expect you to agree with everything. In fact, if you agreed with me 100%, you'd be nuts. You don't want to do that. But what I'm trying to do here is give you the big picture of certain topics. And out of all these videos, if you hate them all, but there's one you can pull some gold from, my job's done. That's all I want to do. I'm just giving you some stuff to think about and some stuff to look over and play around with and, really, really push you a little bit kind of out of your comfort zone. Okay, so as soon as, Holy says that to me, I'm like, okay, I get you now. We have bigger fish to fry than this. A pumpkin doesn't intimidate them. Now, again, we'll discuss that another time. If you really want to leave a comment down below, I'm sure it's going to be great. Leave it down below. But again, that's the whole thing with these vlogs, and that is how you detect your modern day Pharisees. Now, there's like 50 of these, and I could probably do about 20 volumes of this vlog, but I'm not going to. But I think you got what you need now. Take what I've given you and you run with it. Okay, don't look to me for your answers. Take what I've given you and go run with it and report back, as always, what you find and share with the rest of the group. So while you're there, hit that thumbs up button because you love this video. Hit that subscribe button because you love me. You love listening to this stuff. Come on now, right? And anytime visit the website at dominionfire.com where you're going to find everything. But most importantly, here on YouTube, if you have something you want to throw into there, again, I'm sure it's going to be great. Leave a comment down below and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching. Thanks for being here with me. Thanks for hanging out a little bit in my new lit up studio. As we always say here at our ministry, boom goes Yeshua, and we'll see you next time. Bye.